Most people spend their whole life performing value. They buy the right clothes. They practice the right handshake. They memorize big words and walk into rooms with their chest out. But let me tell you something nobody teaches you in school. Value is not a costume. You cannot wear it. Value is felt before it is seen. And the human brain, this incredible ancient machine, it makes its decision about you before you even open your mouth. Long before your resume is read. Long before your achievements are announced. The nervous system speaks first. And most people have no idea what theirs is saying. The people who truly carry high value, they understand one thing that most people never study, never practice, never even think about. Status is not proven. Status is regulated. The way you manage yourself under pressure, under silence, under challenge, that is your real introduction. No, your title. No, your suit. No, your LinkedIn profile. Your regulation. Let's go deeper. What? They are comfortable being misunderstood. Low value behavior, over-explaining to protect the image. High value behavior, selective clarification. Here is a saying most people know well. Someone misreads you, maybe in a meeting, maybe in a message, maybe in front of people whose opinion you care about. And the instinct is so fast, is to jump in immediately, correct it, fix it. Explain yourself, control the story before it spreads. But I want you to think about what that rush actually communicates. When you scramble to protect your image, the moment it is touched, you just told the whole room that your image is fragile. You just revealed that your self-worth is sitting on a very thin piece of glass. And any small knock might shatter it. Internally secure people, they do not rush, they assess. They ask themselves, is this misunderstanding actually important? Does it affect something real? If yes, they clarify briefly, calmly. Once, if not, they let time do the work because they know something powerful. The truth does not need an army. Here is the psychology behind why this works. Certainty feels calm, insecurity feels fast. The brain, your brain, my brain, everyone's brain, it is constantly scanning the room for signals of who is safe, who is strong, who can be trusted. And calm reads as certainty, rushed reads as fear. The less you chase approval, the more stable you appear. And the stability, not charm, not confidence, not charisma. Stability is what the brain ranks highest. You want people to trust you. Stop running to fix what they think of you. Two, they respond. They do not react. Reaction is biology. Response is mastery. Imagine someone challenges you in a room full of people. Maybe they interrupt you mid-sentence. Maybe they push back on your idea with a sharp tone. Maybe they question your judgment in a way that feels like an attack. In that moment, something happens in your body before your brain has time to decide anything. Your heart rate climbs, your jaw tightens, your fingers want to move. And most people, they leak it, they answer too quickly, they raise their voice slightly, they get a little defensive. And just like that, the invisible hierarchy in the room has shifted. Here is what high-value people understand. That moment, that tense, pressurized, uncomfortable moment is not about who has the better argument. It is about who is the most composed. Because the room will not consciously judge you. No one is sitting there with a scorecard, but subconsciously. Every single person in that room notices who tightens first. The highest value people, they slow down, they pause, they breathe. No, because they do not care. They care deeply. But because they have trained themselves to respond from a place of regulation, not from a place of reaction, that small delay. That 1 or 2 second pause. That is executive control. And executive control signals cognitive strength. And cognitive strength signals leadership. And leadership, real leadership is trusted with influence. In the most intense moment, the most regulated nervous system wins. Your biology becomes your authority. 3, they do not make themselves immediately available. Instant availability is a supply problem. When supply is endless, value drops. This is not manipulation. This is not some game you play to seem important. It is a reflection of how you actually structure your life. Think about water. In a city, you open the tap. Water comes, nobody thinks about it, nobody values it in the moment. But take someone into a desert for 3 days, suddenly water becomes the most precious thing in the world. The water did not change, the access changed. High value people do not reply to every message the moment it arrives. They do not rearrange their entire schedule because someone made a last minute request. They do not allow their day to be constantly reshaped by everyone else's urgency. They operate from deliberate allocation. Their time has structure. Their attention has direction. And here is what happens psychologically when people experience this. When access to someone feels limited. Not impossible, just structured. It gains weight. People prepare more carefully before meeting. They think more clearly before sending a message. They treat the interaction with more respect because they know your attention is not infinite. And things that are not infinite are treated differently. Boundaries do not push people away. Done correctly, they elevate how people experience you. Unrestricted access dilutes presence. Scarcity focuses attention. Manage your availability like it means something, because it does. They control their body under pressure. The body is the world's worst liar. It tells the truth faster than your words ever could. Watch most people under tension, genuine, real tension, and you will see it immediately. They speak faster, their hands move more, their posture shifts, their eyes blink at a different speed. The body begins broadcasting distress, signals like a radio tower that lost control of its frequency. High-value individuals do not let the broadcast run wild. They train stillness. They slow the breath deliberately. They relax the jaw. You would be surprised how much anxiety lives in a clenched jaw. They keep their gestures minimal and grounded. They do not fidget. They do not shift weight repeatedly. No, here's why this matters at a level deeper than impression management. Humans are biologically ancient. We carry 200,000 years of survival wiring in our bodies. And one of the oldest functions of that wiring is threat detection. We are constantly scanning the environment for signs of danger, signs of instability, signs of someone who might be a problem. The person in the room who shows the fewest signs of threat detection, they appear dominant. No aggressive, no cold. Dominant and calm at the same time. The brain equates physical steadiness with internal power. What people call presence, that magnetic, undeniable quality, that some people carry into rooms without even trying, most of it is not mystery. It is nervous system discipline. Still body, measured breath, unhurried energy, that is the whole formula. It is available to everyone. Most people just never practice it. 5, they do not compete for attention. Low value energy chases attention like a street vendor. Chasing a bus. High value energy sits at the table and lesson arrive on its own watch. They interrupt before the sentence is finished. They overtalk to make sure no space is left for silence. They laugh a little too loudly at their own humor. They volunteer opinions on every topic, whether they know it deeply or not. They need the room to see them, constantly need it. Like a phone that only feels real when it is being charged. High value people do the opposite. They listen more than they speak. When they do speak, it is with intention, with weight, with something worth saying. They allow silence to sit in the room without rushing to fill it. They choose their moments. Here is the psychological law underneath this. Noise is ignored. The brain filters out noise automatically because the brain is a survival machine and it cannot process everything equally. But selective input, the voice that only speaks when it has something, that breaks through the filter, that gets remembered. There is a contrast effect happening in every conversation, every meeting, every room. When everyone is competing to be heard, the composed voice becomes magnetic simply by comparison. Silence used correctly does not make you invisible. It gives you gravity, and people lean toward gravity. That is not metaphor. It is physics applied to human behavior. 6, they are willing to walk away from unequal exchanges. This one is the anchor. This one changes everything else. Think about the moment someone disrespects you. Maybe they cross a line you have said before. Maybe they consistently underestimate what you bring. Maybe they take more than they give and show no awareness of it. What most people do, argue, try to convince, explain why the disrespect is wrong. Chase the resolution, need the acknowledgement. Here is what high value people do. Instead, they evaluate once, they decide clearly. And if the exchange is fundamentally unequal, if the relationship is built on taking and not giving, on disrespect without remorse, they withdraw, no with anger, no with a public statement, no with a dramatic exit. Just a detachment, quiet, clean, final. No emotional explosion, no campaign to win people to their side. No need for the other person to admit they were wrong. Just the decision to allocate their presence somewhere more worthy. Now understand why this is so powerful. Detachment signals abundance. When someone senses that you are genuinely willing to lose the interaction, that you are not dependent on it continuing, it shifts the entire dynamic instantly. Because dependent people are easy to underestimate. Dependent people get treated with less care, but someone who can walk away, that person carries a different kind of weight in every room they enter. Dependence reduces status. The ability to walk away raises it. No, because you are cold. No, because you do not care. But because your sense of value does not live inside someone else's treatment of you. No. The deepest layer, all 6 of these habits, every single one, they are not separate techniques. They are not a checklist. They're all expressions of one internal architecture, one foundational skill, self-regulation, no dominance, no intimidation. No emotional coldness, no performance, regulation. When you regulate your emotional reactions, you stop being predictable. When you regulate your time and access, you stop being taken for granted. When you regulate your words, you stop wasting your influence. When you regulate your body, you stop broadcasting anxiety. When you regulate your need for attention, you stop competing for what should naturally come to you. When you regulate your attachment to outcomes, you stop being dependent. Every one of these forms of regulation stabilizes your identity. And a stabilized identity is the most powerful thing a human being can carry into a room. Most people try to build value from the outside. Better clothes, sharper speech, a louder presence, more followers, more titles. They polish the surface, hoping it covers what is unsteady underneath. But here is the truth. And I say this from watching thousands of people, from making my own mistakes, from building things and losing things and starting again. External polish cannot fix internal instability. It cannot. The crack always shows eventually value rises internally. When you stop chasing approval, when you genuinely stop needing every person in the room to like you, something settles inside you. When you stop leaking urgency. When you stop treating every uncomfortable moment like an emergency that must be resolved right now. People feel your groundedness and they trust it. When you stop reacting automatically and start responding deliberately, you become someone whose judgment can be relied on. That is what anchored means. No stuck, no rigid, anchored, stable, under pressure, unmoved by noise, clear in direction. And anchored people get trusted people get respected. Respected people shape rooms, shift conversations, redirect energy without raising their voice, without demanding attention, without performing a single thing. This is not about becoming cold. This is not about becoming distant or untouchable or too important to engage. It is about becoming centered in who you are, centered in what you respond to the world. Control presence is rare. Look around you, genuinely look, and count how many people you know who carry it. No, many, maybe none, because most people are still performing, still adjusting the costume, still hoping someone will see the value they are trying to project. The person who has done the inner work does not need to project anything. Their regulation is the communication. Their stillness is the announcement. Their calm is the authority. Master these habits, not in one day, not in 1 week, not because you read something that inspired you on a Tuesday morning, but through real, deliberate, daily practice. Build these habits into your nervous system, your automatic responses, the default way you move through the world. And you will not need to convince anyone of your worth. You will not need to explain your value. You will not need to chase recognition or fight for respect. Your regulation will walk into the room before you do, and it will say everything worth saying before you ever speak a word.